points of contact when entering the cab. My seatbelt is properly mounted and secured. It's not worn, torn, or frayed. It's adjusted to me, and it latches and unlatches properly. Before we begin, I just want to let you know I have 3 pieces of emergency equipment. A fully charged 5 BC rated fire extinguisher, properly mounted and secured by my driver's side. I have 3 red bi-directional reflective triangles in the utility box in the back, and spare fuses in this overhead bin. My windows and windshields are properly mounted and secured. They are clean, have no damage, no obstructions or illegal stickers. My flat and convex mirrors on my driver and passenger side are properly mounted and secured. They are clean with no damage, no obstructions, and they're adjusted to me from the inside. I'll now perform a safe start. My foot on the brake, my vehicle in neutral, and my brakes engaged. My ABS lights turn on and back off, indicating that's working properly. My windshield wipers and blades and arms are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, bent, broken, worn, torn, or frayed, and they operate smoothly. My washer fluid functions properly. My water pressure gauge here, or water temperature gauge, is in its operating range and is functioning properly with no warning lights. My oil pressure gauge here is in its normal operating range with no warning lights. How do I change this camera?
Yes.
Alright, my digital oil temperature is in its normal operating range with no warning lights, and my voltmeter is in its normal operating range. My primary and secondary air gauges here are working, and the air pressure will continue to rise until the governor cutoff between 120 and 140 psi. My left indicator works. My right light indicator works. My 4-way flasher indicator works. My high beams will work. My city horn works properly. My air horn is working properly. There's no more than 10 degrees or 2 inches of free play in my steering wheel. My heater is working properly. And my defroster is working properly.
Your windshield wipers are still on.
Thank you, sir. Alright. I'm gonna perform a parking brake check. Before I do that, I'm gonna let my air pressure build up to the governor cutoff of 120 to 140 psi. Slightly so I feel resistance. My trailer brakes are working properly.
Still in gear?
Oh, thank you. Yes, I was. I'm going to rebuild my pressure back up to the 120 to 140 psi before I perform my trailer brake test.
Still in gear.
Oh, thank you. Would you like me to perform a service brake test?
Just tell me how you do it.
Okay. So to check my service brakes, I would pull forward at about 5 miles an hour, and I'd apply my service brakes to stop. I'd also check that my trailer isn't pulled to either side, and that the brake, I stop fully when the brake is applied. All right. I'm going to now perform my air brake test. I'm going to build my pressure back up to the governor cutoff of 120 to 140 psi. Air pressure built up. I'm going to turn my vehicle off. Turn my key to the on position. Wait for my gauges to level out. When I perform this test, I should lose no more than 4 psi in 1 minute. Could you time me? Level out. I'll now apply my brake. Let me know when to stop.
Okay.
Alright, I didn't lose more than 4 psi in a minute. I'm now going to fan my brakes to my low air warning light and buzzer comes on. It should be around 55 psi. Now continue fanning the brakes down to about 40 psi until my valves pop out.
All right.
You did amazing.
Yeah, you